My housing market prediction for 2025 into 2026 is this. I believe that the housing market will cool to its least amount of appreciation in 2025, and then in 2026, I think we're going to the moon. Now, here's why. Let me break it down. I think we have two opposing factors which are currently happening in real estate right now. And not only just in real estate, but also in the stock market. The first thing is we have tariffs which are moving prices up in the inflationary way, meaning they're causing things to cost more money. In the real estate world, that means things like building houses, the cost of lumber, etc. Now, on the opposing side to that, we also have cuts in government spending which are happening, and the administration is also allowing for the forestry and the reserves to happen there, for more cutting to happen to be able to reduce that dependence upon Canada for our lumber resources. And so now we're likely to see something working against it. So we've got two opposing factors working against each other. The next opposing factor that we're seeing is we're going to see a reduction in taxes. Now, that's likely going to come through a lot of different classes that are out there, but that reduction in classes are going to cause actually prices to rise, as we're going to see more families able to spend more money on things like housing and the things that they want. Easy stats out there are people spend most of their paycheck whenever they see savings onto things that they like, and one of those is going to be housing. We're seeing another opposing factor, which are the amount of inventory that's in the market. Now, when we have less inventory in the market, we obviously see prices rise, but watch here as to why I believe things are going to start to pick up immensely into 2026 following a brief period of a lull in 2025. Here it is. You're likely going to see these tariffs remain either for a short period of time, and if they do, it's just a tactic by the Trump administration in order to maintain their border control. If they stay for the long term, they're likely going to bring manufacturing back to the United States, which could cause prices to rise in certain ways or prices to be brought down if things are made locally. Now, that's going to be beneficial for the government in terms of more tax base here. Now, the next thing that's likely going to happen is as we're starting to see more money come back in towards bonds, those prices of those bonds are going to start to drop and drop and drop and drop. And then investors in 2025 will likely see the lower parts in the stock market, this recorrection that's happening. And then funds are going to move from the investors in the bonds market. They're going to likely move over, which obviously is going to reduce those interest rates. They're going to move back into the stock market into 2026, which is likely going to drive it like crazy. And when people see that money back in the stock market, they see their portfolios start to rise. Those 401ks are going to grow. They see less interest rates for themselves to get those loans and more inventory on the market that's likely going to hit. It's going to kick the housing market into high gear into 2026. So what does this mean for buyers and sellers in the market right now? It simply means this. If you've been a buyer and you've been on the sidelines, you're likely seeing those rates come from the 7s down into the low 6s, if not 5s, and we've even heard people getting interest rates in the 4s on adjustable rate mortgages. If you want more information about that, I'd love for you to reach out to a Brooke team agent for more information about where rates are today. If you're a seller in today's market, you might not likely see as much appreciation in the market as you did in the prior years. However, you're likely to see more inventory come to the market, which means you got new options to answer that age-old question that we've been hearing for the last few years: where am I going to go? If you're open to seeing properties that are not only on the market, but also off the market, I'd love for you to reach out to a Brooke team agent today. Find out some of the make me move properties of people who have raised their hand and said, hey, I would move if I got this price and this was the situation. If that sounds like something that you'd either like to be added to on that list to have a make me move price for your house, or you'd like to see, hey, maybe what my property is worth today, I'd love for you to reach out to a Brooke team agent. Thanks guys for watching. This has been the March Market Update.